How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Well, it's Wednesday here, everybody. What a fun Tuesday it was. I know a lot of people are sick of hearing about Becky and Charlotte and Ronda Rousey and WrestleMania. People are sending me texts before the show even started about this. Yesterday, the day... everybody was talking about it. There's three types of people. They're the people that are fine with a three-way. They think that's probably going to be a better match. There are people that prefer that it would just be a singles match with Becky and Ronda Rousey. And then there's the third group of people that are losing their minds. All over our message board. Lost their minds. 2,000 posts in the last 24 hours. Just going crazy about this. So anyway, last night on the Smackdown show, Charlotte came out and cut a heel promo. No Becky Lynch on the show. And I thought it was a good promo. Man, that made some people mad. There are people that have closed their minds to this. Nothing about it is going to be good. Even if it is bad. She was on there. No Becky Lynch is noted. They're furthering the storyline. Also last night on Smackdown, whole situation with Kofi Kingston. What did you think about Kofi Kingston going 60 minutes in the gauntlet match last night? I had a love-hate relationship with that match. What did you think about it? We could talk about that today. And yes, a lot of stuff going on in terms of non-Becky, Ronda, Charlotte news, such as AEW selling out all remaining tickets for their Double or Nothing show in 4 minutes. They are all gone. Death of Pedro Morales. We can talk about that when we kick off the next segment here. Also got Raw ratings, Elimination Chamber changes, Sasha Banks, and a lot more. If you want to contact us here today about whatever's on your mind, 844-411-5411 is the phone number. That is toll-free. 844-411-5411. Text messages, 425-780-7566. Back in a moment with more Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Legendary pro wrestler Pedro Morales passed away yesterday, 76 years old. We were getting notes about it during the show yesterday, but it was not confirmed till the show went off the air, so I didn't want to talk about it. WWE confirmed his passing shortly after it was reported online yesterday. Morales had suffered from advanced Parkinson's disease. Last week marked the 48th anniversary of Morales' WWF World Heavyweight Championship win, when he defeated Ivan Koloff, Madison Square Garden, to win the title. Morales was the first Triple Crown champion in company history, winning the heavyweight, intercontinental, and tag team titles during his time with the promotion. He won the title from Koloff February 8, 1971, dropped it to Stan Stasiak December 1, 1973. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 1995, voted into the Observer Hall of Fame 2017. During his induction, Dave Meltzer wrote that Morales, quote, sold out Madison Square Garden 21 times in 30 title matches, the highest sellout percentage of any major star in the history of the arena, except for superstar Billy Graham. Morales and Bruno headlined the WWF's first showdown at Shea event in 1972, wrestled to a draw. In 1965, Morales defeated the Destroyer, won the WWA World Heavyweight title in LA, held the title 2 times in his career. He was born in Puerto Rico, 1942, began his in-ring career in New York at the age of 17. This back in the days where if you were a heel, you were a transitional champion. Bruno held the title forever, dropped it to the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik held it for a heartbeat. Goes to Pedro Morales, Stan Stasiak. It just... Superstar Billy Graham was the first heel champion that held that title for an extended period of time. And actually, his title reign, I forget the exact number. I wrote about it for a new book that I've got coming out in the summer. But he actually, and this is funny when you think about all the heat that they do nowadays, he had the longest title reign as a heel, and it lasted like forever. I mean, well into the 2000s, if I recall correctly. I'll try and look it up during the break, but it's only been of late that WWE has done this long-term heel champion gimmick. But yeah, the death of Pedro Morales, sad to report that, and there you go.
A guy who actually stretched into our generation. In the early 80s, he got a little bit of a revival. That's how popular he was in the Northeast, especially in New York. Got a little bit of a revival and was one of the first centerpieces of the Intercontinental title, along with people like Don Morocco and Greg Valentine, Ken Patera at that time, in that mix. And his career went long into the 80s, and during the Hulkamania boom, they downplayed his accomplishments from the past, as they did with everybody. But he was still around then and just was a long-lasting figure who, always maintained, it took a long time for him to get into the Observer Hall of Fame, but always maintained a good level of respect and good vote totals from both his peers now and in the past, and especially among reporters as well, too. So, Godspeed, Pedro Morales.
Well, no surprise, all Elite Wrestling tickets gone. The remaining tickets went on sale to the public at 9 a.m. this morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Sold out in 4 minutes. The show, May 25th, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Hangman Page Pac, Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, Kylie Ray, SoCal Uncensored versus Shima, and 2 partners from OWE, and likely the Young Bucks versus Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix. There's also a Cody Rhodes match, which is, at this point, a mystery opponent for Cody Rhodes. Who could that be? It's not me, everybody. I'm just asking, who could that be? I'm sure there are people out there that are expecting it must be somebody from The Observer. But in fact, it is not. Last night's SmackDown.
Must be somebody from The Observer?
Before we, of course, we've been bought out. You know that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
smarten up, Mike.
I wasn't sure if MLW, because the rest of their performers could appear on the broadcast, and maybe Filthy Tom put into that spot defending the MLW title against Cody Rhodes.
Well, he'll be defending the title against Low Key in a cage match, which has been announced. So that's coming up. I want to know what everybody thought. I'm trying to distract from the Becky talk because I'm sure it's coming. Are we in at least agreement, Mike, that people are actually talking about this? Are we not going to pretend it's just me?
I'm not pretending that it's just you. They are definitely
out of control
talking
yesterday.
About it.
Out of control. I'm fine with the people that they have their opinion. They're like, I'd rather it be a singles match. Okay, cool. I'd rather it be a 3-way. Okay, cool. But there are the obsessives. Those are the ones I had to deal with yesterday. I don't know what they do. I don't know how they leave the house.
They get angry. That's what they do.
Just typing incessantly for hours on end about this.
Typing, pounding on the keyboard.
Pounding.
Angry.
Okay, so I just want to go back very quickly to Superstar Billy Graham. So, he held the title for 286 days in the 70s. And WWE has always been a promotion, or it was for decades, where the champion was a babyface. All of these heels would come up. Champion would defeat them. When the time was right, the babyface champion would lose to a heel. The heel would immediately lose to another babyface, and we'd go all over again. So, as much as we talk about heat and heel champions in WWE, his 286-day title reign as a heel lasted all the way through 2012. CM Punk was the guy that broke his record for the longest reign as a heel. So from I think he won it in 76, 77, lost it a year and a half or so later.
78.
Or less than a year later. So between that date and 2012, WWE never promoted a heel as champion for longer than Superstar Billy Graham until 2012. Then it just got out of control. That's another story entirely. All right. What did everybody think about Mustafa Ali last night? He was in the gauntlet, he was out. Kofi Kingston replaced him. Mustafa Ali has a concussion. Kofi Kingston replaced him. Kofi entered the gauntlet match. He went 60 minutes. He ran through. He beat Daniel Bryan. He beat Jeff Hardy. He beat Samoa Joe. And then finally he lost to AJ Styles. And then as soon as AJ Styles won, they rang the bell for the last guy, and Randy Orton flew in out of nowhere, hit an RKO, and won in 2 seconds. What did everybody think about that match? I loved it, and I hated it at the same time. I want to see what everyone else thought. I won't even really give my thoughts for now. I'll wait until a little bit later.
Good to hear you being decisive on all this.
Well, there were things I loved, there were things I hated. What do you want me to do? Choose a side that I don't believe in?
No, I think you should love on Kofi Kingston first, and then take us through the voyage of your mind on how you believe that this is both good and bad.
All right, I'll tell you. All right? So, I thought that Kofi Kingston was awesome. I thought it was a tremendous performance by Kofi. With that said, I hate beating the champion if it's not setting up a championship match. Does anybody think it's Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston at the Fastlane show? If it is, I'll shut up right now. But I'm skeptical of that, okay? Kofi Kingston is a tag team guy who does comedy with pancakes, okay? He ran through Daniel Bryan, Jeff Hardy, and Samoa Joe. Now, if the idea is this is him breaking away from the New Day and he is going to become a main event level star, then I love it. Does anybody think he's not going to be playing with pancakes and doing comedy next week? All right? I don't. If this is the beginning of something, I love it. And to watch a match, I loved the wrestling in this match, but to devote 60 minutes of my life and the end of the gauntlet match is Randy Orton sneaks in and hits one move and he wins the whole thing, as a fan, I was kind of let down. That's what I waited 60 minutes for? And that guy's a babyface. If Randy Orton was a heel and he snuck in and stole the whole thing, that's one thing. He's a babyface. So yeah, there were things I loved about it. There were things I hated about it.
Prove that Randy Orton's a babyface.
He is a babyface. Are you kidding me?
In a world of gray, and with a Randy Orton that will RKO anyone out of anywhere.
That's his babyface gimmick.
Well,
it's how it's been since the day he got called up. He's a babyface right now. So yeah, I loved it and I hated it. That's my opinion. We're going to go to the phones when we come back from the break. I'll take your comments on everything. Boy, do I got a lot of texts here. And I'll read them when we... well, actually, all sorts of things, believe it or not.
Oh, good.
But the fans direct this show. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. First off, I'm the first guy to admit when I'm wrong. I'm wrong, everybody. Actually, I'm not sure I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong. Randy Orton, I think, is a heel. Okay? I was confused last night because he got a huge babyface pop and a babyface reaction when he hit the RKO and won the match. So I was confused. And I could be wrong because on a weekly basis, people are just randomly changing from babyface to heel for no reason whatsoever. So I believe that I am wrong and Randy Orton is in fact a heel. But I guess we'll find out next week. Also this. When I mentioned Kofi Kingston getting the big push but then playing with pancakes, even Big E tweeted about it. And he says, sometimes you forget the dude you've goofed off with for the last 4 years is a legend. Putting in an hour against and defeating world champs and future Hall of Famers was awe-inspiring and humbling. Last night was one we will never forget. Dude, I'll never forget it if it's the start of this big push. But I expect him to be playing with pancakes next week. I'd be happy for them to prove me wrong. All right. Let's go to the phones. Fans lead the show here. We're like the authority back when they pretended they were doing things differently. Caller, you're on the air. What's up?
Hello, Bryan. Hello, Mike. This is Jabir from Middle East. Can you hear me?
What's going on?
Hello?
Hi.
Bryan?
Yes, what's happening? Ask your question.
Yes, I want to talk about the three-way.
The what?
You're never going to have the three-way match.
The three-way, yes. Go ahead.
Yes. You're never going to have a man care about quality much more than me. Even I see Takeda Masashi versus Kodaka Sam versus Jun Kasai versus Violent Jack.
Okay.
So I like the single match. I like the single match better for two reasons. Why? Because first, the aura of the single match. The aura of the main event of WrestleMania. Number two, what about Asuka?
What about what?
What about Asuka? She's going to have, Carmella, Mandy Rose, Naomi?
I do expect it's going to be Asuka versus Mandy Rose, yes.
Yes, so I like Asuka versus Charlotte, and Ronda versus Becky.
So basically, I want to thank you very much for the call. It's hard to hear all of that, but basically what he's saying is, he wants it to be a singles match. He wants it to be a singles match because he likes singles matches better, and he figures they're doing nothing with Asuka, and so it would be better to him to do Asuka versus Charlotte, and Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch, as opposed to Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte, and then Asuka ends up in the ring with Mandy Rose. And listen, you're welcome to feel that way. You're absolutely welcome to feel that way. Like, everybody is entitled to their opinion. My point is, we don't have to go crazy about it. A lot of nuttiness going on the internet about this.
Is there any outrage over Mandy Rose and Asuka as a possibility?
I haven't heard that yet, but I'm sure.
Upset about that?
But you know what? Here's the thing. If it ends up a three-way, people will be outraged about that because they will make the exact same argument he will, which is Asuka versus Charlotte would be better than Asuka versus Mandy, and they're giving us a bad match because they have to do a three-way. That is the outrage you will hear. Yes. I'm an outrage master now. I understand all of this. Person says, on no planet is Randy Orton a babyface. You have completely lost it. Well, first off, I apologize and said I was wrong, but I don't think I've lost it, dude. Have you watched this show? Dean Ambrose is randomly a babyface on Monday. EC3 is randomly a heel on Monday. There was no turn for either of them. Rusev, there was no turn for him. He randomly was a heel after being a babyface since the summer. So don't tell me there's no chance that Randy Orton is randomly a babyface now. I watched this show. There's absolutely a chance.
How do you feel about the Nakamura-Rusev team being led by Lana, the Uniter?
How do I feel about it? I have no feelings about it.
She calls him Shin.
That's fine. Yeah. The person says, now that Double or Nothing is sold out so quickly, do you think Cody and the Bucks have the pull to get a TV show with the time and day they want instead of what the networks will want? No, the networks will always choose. Like, the networks will always choose what day it's on. Like, WWE doesn't have pull as to what day it's going to be on. They will be on whatever day the network wants them to be on. Person says Kofi should win the title. He's earned it. Note he doesn't say he deserved it. If they want to give the title back to Daniel, he can win it at Fastlane. They could do that. They could do whatever they want. I don't have faith, but we'll see. We'll see. Got to remember, like, how many times have we seen them do this deal with guys where they give them the big push and the big win? Like, remember Shelton Benjamin when he went on that run years ago that led to absolutely nothing? And, I mean, I think they've even done this with Kofi once, if I recall correctly. With Kofi and Randy. Remember that? They had that big deal.
Way back.
Yep,
yes.
They did nothing with him. And, like, the New Day, listen, I've been begging for the New Day to break up. I don't even think that they have to turn on each other. Just like one of them go as a singles, the other two can stay as a tag team if you want.
Put the pancakes down for a minute.
Get rid of these stupid pancakes.
Big E just has to punch somebody in the face. Xavier has to drop kick him, and Kofi has to just beat Kofi. And it won't take that long because for as many people as hate them, they're not as bottom of the barrel of an act with the fans that people won't rally around them relatively quickly if you give them some sort of edge back. They probably won't, but you could do that very, very easily with those three.
Should mention, by the way, that, yes, I have no faith in this Kofi thing, and I don't want to hear one person tell me to give it time, because I heard that exact same thing in December or November when the Authority did their deal, and everyone said, give it time, let's wait and see, and we went right back to where we were before. Just like here, we're going to go right back to the way we were before. This person says they should cut the comedy, have the New Day go their separate ways. All three of them are way too talented to be doing what they've been doing for the last year and a half. Year and a half? 4 years! That's straight from Big E. Person says the RKO is getting very stale at this point. It's transcended, protected finisher. Now it's just lazy swerving. See Rusev versus Orton at SummerSlam for an example. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, boys, what's up? You don't have to go back to Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton. Didn't Mustafa Ali pin Daniel Bryan a few weeks back and nothing came out of it?
Yes, exactly. But we don't know about that because, hold on, they may have been doing what they do with Kofi. That may have been Mustafa Ali's spot. So if Mustafa Ali is going to beat Daniel Bryan, and he's going to go through and beat Daniel Bryan a second time and go 60 minutes in the gauntlet, then yeah, maybe they were going to go with Mustafa Ali, Daniel Bryan at the next pay-per-view. So that would be fine.
Well, it makes sense, too, because of the 50-50 things that they like to do. He gets his win back over Joe, and, well, you got the thing with Jeff Hardy. He just had to be there, but that would have made sense, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought that was really Mustafa Ali's spot last night, and I'm glad it went to Kofi. And you know, they did make him look really strong, being that you had 5 days before the Chamber. So they did do a good job with that. And if you remember, the gauntlet actually propelled Seth Rollins into his stardom into, I guess you could say that.
Yeah, but that's different because he'd been the champion before. He'd already been a main eventer. That's different. Like, this is a guy that's a tag team guy. And if you're going to do this with a tag team guy beating all of the, as Big E said, former world champions, and future Hall of Famers, I mean, you got to go all the way with this guy. Otherwise, you just bury the guys that he beat.
Well, that was going to be my question to you. Do you think anybody got hurt last night with what Kofi did?
It depends. Like, listen, in 2019, especially with the fan base they have right now, I want to thank you very much for the call. Like, nothing's going to hurt anybody to these fans. I mean, they're slowly trickling away, but, like, it's slow. I mean, if this were a different era and there were far more casual fans and people had their favorites and they were invested in everything, then yeah, a tag team guy running through 3 top stars and then going right back to eating pancakes, that would hurt those 3 top stars. But I don't think it's going to make a difference today. Oh, he's gone. So are you, apparently.
Well,
thank you.
Just waiting for him to respond.
Thank you.
How do you feel about The Miz and Daniel Bryan? I mean, The Miz and Shane McMahon.
I have no thoughts. It's just
nothing?
It's just a thing.
Okay.
It's just a thing. Person notes Raw ratings down again. Yes, they're very slightly down again. Although if you look at the numbers, Hour 1, 2.689, 2.445, 2.252. That is a very normal pattern. Obviously, it's WrestleMania season. People are expecting miracles. You ain't going to get them. The show is down 20% year over year. That's where it's been. So, like, this is not terrible. And it's just what it is right now. I mean, they ran off 20% of their audience last year for probably a number of different reasons. Those people are coming back a little bit for WrestleMania season, but not a lot. And we'll see if this is where it kind of levels off or if it gets worse. We'll find out. But I want to mention, by the way, since there seems to be great confusion, I saw a lot of people post and tweet about this. If you don't like the Charlotte thing, to not be expecting that there's going to be a change in the Raw and SmackDown numbers for next week's show. That's not how this works. If you followed wrestling history, like I said on the board, go back and look at the Raw ratings when Austin did his famous Austin 316 promo, and look at the ratings the next night, and the following Monday, and the following Monday, and the following Monday. Look at how long he was on fire before the numbers turned around. There's no such thing as, we're going to shoot an angle, and like the numbers are going to rise by a half a ratings point and stay there, starting the following. It doesn't happen. It's never happened, up or down. It's slow growth, or it's slow decline. So I don't want people analyzing the numbers like crazy next week and trying to figure out if this Charlotte thing is a hit or a miss. We'll know at WrestleMania. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. This person here says, everybody's getting worked. The person who looks weak on the go-home show almost always wins on the pay-per-view. Daniel is winning on Sunday. It's not even a question. Actually, it is a question. I do think he's winning, but I once had this same argument with Dave on Observer Radio, and somebody went and did the stats. And, in fact, it's only about, I think it was like 62% of the time. Like, I thought it was 99% of the time. If you lose on Raw, you win on the pay-per-view. If you lose on SmackDown, you win on the pay-per-view. It's barely half. It's a little over half the time. The other half of the time, you still lose on pay-per-view. So, it is not even a question. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's going on?
Hi, Bryan. Hi, Mike. How are you?
I am fine, my friend. I'm calm.
Good to hear. Good to hear. My question was, I haven't heard your thoughts on the SmackDown show yet, but the Kofi Kingston run that he went on in a gauntlet match got me thinking, do you think there's a chance they might actually try to run with Kofi to the Mania for Bryan? Because he still doesn't really have a defined opponent. And I think, reading the tea leaves, that they're doing AJ and Randy Orton at Mania. That's just because they didn't give that match anything on SmackDown. That makes me think they didn't want to blow it there. Well, what do you think about that?
Or they were out of time.
Not the main event.
I mean, if they had a story to tell that Mustafa Ali was going 60 minutes and you still had to do 2 more matches after that, it may have just been presumed timing. Not that you couldn't have made the other matches shorter and done a Randy Orton AJ match, but they had an idea, and that's what they did.
Well, they've expressed it, but I mean, those guys have been on the same show since the draft. I think they've had one match together, so it's not like they're really holding people apart that often. Otherwise, I feel like they're holding them apart for a big match. I might be wrong. I've been a fool for reading the tea leaves before, but I don't know. What do you think about Kofi Kingston? Maybe them giving him a little bit of a push and like seeing if there's anything to that.
What do I think? I think there's no chance that's happening. Would I like to see them actually try? Yes, I'd love it. But I don't think it's happening. I mean, he was a replacement last night. Like, if they were planning on doing Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania, like he would have been in the match originally. Instead, he was in legitimately because Mustafa Ali got hurt at Al's show. So, no, I don't think they're going all the way with Kofi. And, I mean, to me, if the idea was to do what they did with him for Mustafa Ali, who actually is getting kind of a push. I mean, to me, if you have no intention of doing anything with Kofi, then you shouldn't have put him in Mustafa Ali's position. You should have just gone in there. Maybe you can even beat one guy, Jeff Hardy, but like beating the champion, beating Jeff Hardy, beating Samoa Joe. I mean, listen, maybe I'm wrong here, but I rewound it. I don't think I'm wrong. When Kofi Kingston beat Samoa Joe, there were people booing. Right? Am I wrong about that? I heard people booing. So
I didn't pay that much mind to it, really. I was too much in the moment of being happy about Kofi and liking the way that went. I don't think it was the booing was that pronounced. Was it really?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. It sounded like it to me. Like people were, they thought it was cool that he won against Bryan. Thought it was cool that he won too. But then when he beat Joe, it was like, hold on a second. This guy beat Samoa Joe. I don't know. I don't know what people are thinking. I only know what I heard.
I'm happy for Kofi. I like Kofi. I'd like to see this be some sort of maybe turnaround for all those guys. But, I mean, if we're going to fantasy book out to WrestleMania, I would, and I know this will be annoying for people possibly for this match, but I would just rather see Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, and Randy Orton in a match with each other. And as all that's going on, as all this, mess on SmackDown that Daniel Bryan thinks he's going to sneak away, he faces somebody coming up from NXT and makes them at WrestleMania, and then you have something coming out of it with whoever wins that scramble match. You have Daniel Bryan as an opponent for whoever it is, and you have somebody that's instantly made. I mean, it's nothing against any of the guys that are there, or Kofi Kingston and the guys that have been there, but, I mean, if you're going to do something like that, instead of doing a recycling thing, why don't you just have somebody come up either before WrestleMania or at WrestleMania to challenge Daniel Bryan?
Person here says, what can you say about Iizuka? He's retiring, but he seems in better shape and mobility than guys like Tenzan and Nakanishi. Tells me he's smart.
I mean, he's been running around doing a crazy gimmick where he just kind of stomps through the crowd and didn't put that much damage on himself. But the other thing to remember about Iizuka is those other guys were much higher up the card. Even Nakanishi at one point was a young lion that they were thinking was going to be the next guy, and he obviously didn't make it there in comparison to some of those other guys. But, I mean, those other guys put a lot of damage on their bodies over time, where Iizuka, unfortunately for his position on the card, didn't have that shot. And, again, he's been playing a crazy man for the last, God knows, 10 years almost, whatever it's been now. So life's been a little bit easier for him.
The Double or Nothing selling in a matter of minutes. Do you know if any have made it to the secondary market? Yeah. They're asking like $2,000 for some of these tickets last time I looked.
Jeez.
Yeah. Secondary market numbers are very, very high. Person says, very good gauntlet match. Kofi looked awesome. I would have rather seen Big E, but still good. Ending was abrupt and somewhat lackluster. Well, now that I know that Randy Orton's a heel, it's not the worst finish. You're supposed to be mad. I was definitely mad about it.
Well, I just looked at that really as this is how WWE ends the TV show. As bad as that might sound, I mean, that's what I took it as, is you got your moment of Randy Orton. As soon as that tight shot was on AJ's face, you knew.
The person wants to know where Bray Wyatt is. Probably hanging out with Asuka. That's all I can figure.
I think he was hanging out with Edge and Christian, but I didn't watch the show. But he may have appeared on there as well.
This person says, I was at Madison Square Garden when Kofi put Orton through that table and the place went nuts. They messed up on his push then. They'll mess this up too. Well, we'll see. I don't think they can mess it up because I don't think it is a push. I think it was an idea they had for a night, and he's going to go back to throwing pancakes into the crowd. Listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, everybody. Don't get mad at me. I love Kofi. I thought he did great last night. I have nothing against Kofi. It's like I have nothing against Finn Balor. I spit all over my monitor.
So what's your problem with Finn Balor?
Get out of here, you idiot. All I have to do is listen to these.
So you calling me an idiot? You're upset with Finn Balor?
No,
what happened here?
No, are you deaf? I said I don't have a problem with Finn Balor.
Why do you have to actually, state that?
Because every time I talk about what WWE does to Finn Balor in terms of booking, a bunch of idiots that are incapable of rational thought conclude that I hate Finn Balor and I don't want to see him get a push. All I'm doing is explaining why they do this with him all the time. I love Finn Balor. Honest to God, Finn Balor is my favorite wrestler to watch in WWE. Even more than Daniel Bryan and AJ. I love Finn Balor matches. There's this weird thing on the internet where I hate Finn Balor. I have no idea why.
Spandex envy.
I mean, for crying out loud. He was mad last year because Dave and I did a show and we talked about how Vince took him out of the Royal Rumble because he didn't think he was over enough. And for some reason he got mad at us. We didn't take him out of the damn match. Right? I didn't take Finn Balor out of the... I loved Finn Balor's match with Brock Lesnar this year. I wish he would have had that match last year. And he'd be a year further along now. But Vince took him out of the match because he didn't think he was over enough at the time. Why? Because Vince booked him like an idiot. So, I don't know why he was mad at us. I'm not the guy that had him go out there and get beat on the way to the Royal Rumble. That was the dumbest thing they ever did that day.
Who do you think wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal this year?
Who knows? Some big dude, probably. Maybe it'll be, who could it be?
Mojo again?
They are... what happened to that, everybody? Everybody that cries to me about how plans change. Where the hell was Mojo this week? They had 2 weeks of vignettes and then he vanished.
Super Bowl's over. You didn't need him. The Gronk stuff has already been taped and in the can now. Now you can forget about it. He was talking to the mirror.
Maybe Lars Sullivan.
Where's Lars?
I don't know. This person here says, give more props to superstar Billy Graham. Punk wasn't a heel all the way through his title reign. Well, that's true, but to be fair, either was Graham. He was getting cheered at the end.
He was cheered some places. He was cheered a lot kind of early, too. And, the superstar, which, just from a bygone era, he received the date that he was going to drop the belt a year in advance, and no matter how hot he was, and because he should have, in hindsight, you could have kept that going for a long time and turned him babyface and had him fight the Ivan Koloffs and the Ernie Ladds and all those guys. I mean, the type of superstar Billy Graham could have been in New York when Bob Backlund's first reign started. I mean, who knows? He could have been Hogan way before Hogan. He probably was. In fact, I guess he really was Hogan long before Hogan.
This person says, I think Cody's opponent has to be Pac. Also, maybe spoilerish, Loki is advertised for a show in my area in April. The pic is of him holding the MLW title. I don't think that's a spoiler. I think it's just that's the picture they used. Or maybe he was the champion when they set up the advertising. The advertising was going to be out before he lost the title. I wouldn't read too much into that.
Wait, does he think... Wait, he says he feels Cody's opponent's got to be Pac?
Yeah.
Then who's Adam Page face?
That's a good question. So it probably isn't going to be Pac, isn't it?
No, it's Adam Page and Pac.
Maybe he meant X-Pac. He was there at All In.
I'll take that.
He was in our suite, actually.
Yeah, I'll take that. Was he with that?
The person here says, I think Cody's opponent is MJF's dad, Colt Cabana.
What?
I must have missed a Being Elite somewhere in there.
I see. I don't know if Colt is. I don't think he can appear on there, can he?
My main man Hamish says, is New Japan and Gedo going all the way with Jay White? Are they? He won the title. How much further can they go? He's the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So yes, at this moment, they're going all the way with the guy.
I need to see him inserted into the three-way with Ronda and Charlotte. I need all of this to take place.
Oh, man, everybody would hate that.
Oh, my God.
He's going to make the match worse. He's overrated, Mike. Pay attention.
On an AEW show, he needs to be on there with you doing commentary for it. And I need all of these things to converge together so everyone's head can completely blow up.
Wait. Why me?
Well, you and Vinny, I guess. Somebody's got to call the matches. You, Vinny, and Alex Marvez in a booth, and then Vinny can guess whatever your favorite color is, like Shane and Miz.
Oh, these people asking about Asuka. Anything on Asuka? No, nothing, everybody. Don't even get me started on Asuka beating Becky at the Royal Rumble, because I could go on for hours about that one, too.
You're still not over her tapping out quickly to Charlotte and then having Charlotte lose to the now very tan Carmella. She's using a lot of foundation. What is that? Spray tan?
Probably, yeah. That's what they do. All right, a couple of other news notes here. First two teams to enter the Women's Elimination Chamber match are determined. Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose lost to Carmella and Naomi and the Iconics in a three-way match. They didn't even let the Iconics in the ring last night, everyone.
Well, 14 years.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
14 years, they said.
You know what? Thank you for reminding me of that. I actually went to look it up last night, but there was so much stuff going on that I never did it. There's no way they've been wrestling for 14 years. It's impossible.
How long ago were they with Lance?
I mean, it says here, the Iconics have been active since 2016. So, I'm just going to check out both of them here. I mean, trust me, Lance wasn't training people 16 years ago. All right, let's see here. So, it claims that Peyton debuted in 2009. Okay?
Okay.
Billy, it claims, debuted in 2007? No, come on. Let's be serious here. It claims she debuted in 2007, so they must be adding up their time together. That's how they get 19 years.
Oh,
yeah.
14.
So they said 14?
14,
I can't even add then. What? How'd they get 14 years?
Maybe that's when they became wrestling buddies or something.
I mean, it'd be 12 years for Billy, and it'd be, 10 years for Peyton. So you can either come up with 12, 10, or 22. You can't get 14.
Well, maybe they were friends before the wrestling.
Oh, get out of here. Back in a moment, Observer Live. This person here says, sounds like the Iconics math teacher was Scott Steiner. This person says, to clarify, I meant Tupac was Cody's opponent. Woodchuck. Yes, that would shock.
Yeah.
That would, in fact, be shocking.
What about Scott Steiner? What did I miss there?
He's the Iconics math teacher. Natalia and Dana's storyline also seems to have been dropped, although I don't mind too much, this person says.
Yeah, what was the big thing with Dana on Raw on Monday? I can't remember now.
What was it? I don't even remember. Dana was on Raw?
Part of the 5-point preview. It was point number 4, right before Kurt Angle. Actually what would happen with Natalia and Dana.
Oh, because they were going to do a match and they dropped it. There's another one, everybody. Everybody that cries that we don't know anything, we always just blame them for plans changing. They announced on the 5-point preview on Monday that Natalia was going to face Dana. And then it never happened on the show. Because they changed their minds. This person notes, Iconics were both in the same high school in 2005. That's where the 14 years comes from. There you go. They mentioned it in an interview in the WWE Originals section. Well, that's where you can go to find it. New Day can absolutely stay together and get singles pushes. The Shield hijacked all the singles and tag titles at some point last year. Yeah, they could. They could. I'm not sure if they're gonna. This person says, Sasha has to be the worst tag team partner I've ever seen. 2 weeks in a row, a couple small bumps. She's unable to wrestle the matches. She's a liability. Listen, this is all I gotta say. She finally got cleared today, okay? She's been injured ever since the last pay-per-view. They finally cleared her today. And the first thing that happens is she's booked to be number 1 in the chamber. She has to go at least 20 to 25 minutes and not get hurt. Why wouldn't they go in last to protect her? I don't know. Hey, we're out of time, everybody. I'll be back later on tonight with Filthy Tom and Dave Meltzer. 2 shows coming up today for subscribers up at WrestlingObserver.com. Check out the video.f4wonline.com. And that's it, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks, Mike, as always, callers and listeners. Wrestling Observer Live.